of hand. I did not think that these witnesses would have gotten a lot of people's attention, but I guess I'm a little grateful it did. Maybe because
I'm gonna be honest,
how do you
James. I
feel?
fully expected
How do
it.
you feel? You
I, I I fully expected this. I think that people are entitled to their opinion. I stand by what I say, and I have my support group. At the end of the day, you know, it's kind of astounding to me, and I don't blame Harry for not making a comment because he doesn't know, and that's why I asked, "Do you know what happened before?" I was, you know what I mean. It's not fair, and I don't hold it against him for not making a comment. I don't think that's a fair thing, but what this originally was supposed to be turning into was a discussion about, at the end of the day, what has happened with I and Dean. I think that at the end of the day, yeah, we may disagree politically, but I mean, I even have people in my comments that are from Dean's side of the party saying that this, it was blown out of proportion and that it was not reasonable. And I think that, a lot of people agree that the weaponization of using your chat to dox people and contact CPS and get people in legal trouble.
I just don't get what was in his mind when he said that. I just didn't get that. Like, and for the people who are watching, if you are here just because they were here, then that's perfectly fine. But what I am on here is to bring in civil conversation and civil discourse here. We are here to talk about, situations in life, and I have a mixed panel of both conservative, center, left. So this is not, I was not intending this, but I know I hold a lot of you off. I would bring people up here, but due to the situation, how it was, I knew that this was going to get escalating because a lot of people have a lot of emotions. You're biased. Stop pretend. Okay. And for the people who don't like me, then okay, don't like me. It doesn't
James,
matter.
and here's the deal. At the end of the day, there's a clear separation within the Democratic Party because if you go on to the Destiny subreddit, it's people just absolutely tearing Dean apart. They knew Dean was coming today. Clearly, they knew Dean was coming today because they all showed up in mass, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. They're entitled to their opinion. It doesn't bother me at all.
I even looked at Dean's Discord a little bit, and they were just on it. I just surprised that I got so much attention for this. Like, I did not. This was the last thing I ever wanted, but I wanted to give you a voice. If no one else was going to do it, then I'll do it.
I don't know how long you want to keep this going, James, but I'm perfectly okay with people coming up and talking. It's just, it can't be this screaming and yelling at each other and talking over. I'm okay with taking it like one by one. Like if we have one person come up.
Let's do how we do our normal panels normally. But
yeah.
Anyways, hello. Okay, yeah, I'm going to bring in some people up here for today to add on. You guys are coming up here. So, hello everyone. I'm going to add a few people up here. Hello guys. How old are you for TikTok guidelines? What do you guys like to add on?
It's open floor, guys. Anybody can say anything.
Yeah.
Stacy, Beverly,
I don't have anything to say. I think I hit the button.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. I don't know how to get off of it.
Fine, but
Thanks.
I wonder how my account's going to go after this. I really do, but I don't expect anything big, to be honest.
I think that people are going to clip things again. I think that it's going to be definitely interesting, but at the end of the day, I still hold my standard.
The stuff I gave, I'm just using it for good. I consider it a good way to bring the message further of civil conversation. That's the important thing about this at this point. It's bringing civil conversation.
Yeah. I think once we kind of cleared the air and let Harry say his piece, and we didn't have people yelling at each other over emotions, I think it got handled a bit better.
He was he's much more chiller than Gene is. I'm going to give credit for that.
Yeah, I think that Matt. I think even Matt is wasn't bad either. I don't agree because I think that they set, and I didn't even get to talk half the time when they were up, and I wanted to talk to Dean, but it felt like I just.
And my mods were there, and I'm happy, and thanks to the mods who added on because, they were all defending you, dude. They were legit defending you because we were defending your ass because that was not. The one thing I saw his live and what he said. He's calling us all evil, all stupid stuff that I don't really give a shit about. So
The sad thing is at the end of the day, I don't think people, and again, I said this beforehand, but even with the subreddit, when you look at Destiny subreddit, they're even saying the same thing. The connotation that Dean is setting is the exact opposite of what he thinks. Because if you look at the subreddit, everyone is saying is what? So then you're saying that children should have consent?
he contradicts his statement, and I told Dean verbatim. I said, "You don't want to listen," and he didn't listen, and he knew what I was saying, because I said, "You don't want to listen to us. I get it. You don't want to listen to us." But I'm gonna look at the subreddit because I'm just curious.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, I don't agree with everything. I don't think that it's like, okay, dude, you went on, you went on a war. You went on a warpath to destroy my family, so I really think what goes around comes around.
Saint Dean
But
is a heretic of consent. Destiny posted. Someone posted that.
yep. Oh, Destiny made a whole comment on it, and the biggest pieces that we get from it, and people can go watch it for themselves.
Imagine that I talk to Destiny next. I'm gonna be. I can't. I need a shot of vodka or something after this. I really do.
So, Steven in chat, I know you're there. I see your comment. What part? Narrow that one down for me, please. The beginning, what happened with me and Dean, or what happened today? I need to know which connotation, because there's two different parts. I need to know for today. I'm seeing a lot of people like, we want recap for today, or what happened with Dean today. Okay, so Dean, I'm getting two different ones. Okay, we'll go off the beginning. So yes, July 4th, I went on the live stream with Dean, and when I sat down with him, we decided to discuss the big beautiful bill. Now, there's different parts of it that got brought up. I'm not gonna. Dean's not here to defend himself, so I'm not even gonna be like, okay, he said what I said. What came down to it is, at the end of the day, Dean disagreed with what I said, thought that it was appropriate to say, mute me, and then say that I was willing to traffic and exploit my child, and then he proceeded to dox me and tell his chat to call CPS on me. That's what happened on July 4th. It started off with just a normal basic political discussion, and then it devolved into that. Then today, James gave us the opportunity to have an open chat in which we could have a discussion. And honestly, I don't think it's a bad thing that Dean did come in here. I wish I could talk to him one-on-one a little bit more. But the problem is that it comes down to, even Dean admits that what he said is wrong. However, he still holds this annotation and trying to paint a picture in which he's holding the moral high ground, except even Democrats and Republicans are both agreeing right now that that's not the solution. That he is setting a precedence that's dangerous.
What?
Because
Stacy? Oh.
no. And it is dangerous. It really is dangerous, because the counter argument is then, okay, so what are you going to say? If I say that, and this is verbatim, my child does not have a choice in the matter whatsoever, and I will not allow it, are you saying that then the kid can give consent?
Hello. We got two new people. How old are you two, and what do you like to add on?
27. I just want to get a little more info, because I have no idea what's happening.
18.
Oh.
Hey, go man. Hey, I think everybody supports you right now, bro.
Yeah. How old are you?
I see all the comments. They're all ratioed out.
Well,
there's
because
no
all the supporters left, and the people who are in here are interested in staying.
I appreciate it, man. I mean, there's a lot of pieces to this. I mean, there's so many people that just DM'd me. It's not even just for me. I mean, Sarah went and posted her end of it, and Dean even brought that up and exposed it too. It's not just the fact, okay, me and Dean disagree on something politically. It is the fact that he went out of his way to try to attack me personally and affect my home life because he couldn't come to an agreement.
Yeah.
And he even he said it. He sent it to Sarah, and he said that he dropped the ball.
Yo, trust me, bro. Everybody's on your side right now.
Hello, nurse. Hello, Danny. How old are you for TikTok guidelines? And what do you like to talk about?
Oh, I didn't realize I hit it, but okay. I've been listening. I'm 54, and I was on the live the other day, and I was listening, and it kind of, it definitely was an unfortunate situation because I think Dean's a very smart young man, and I think he reacted to, and that's when I feel like he stopped listening and reacted to the point where you said, "My kid has no choice," right? Because children technically can't consent, right? So it is the adult's responsibility to kind of say, hey,
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
not cool.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
that's when I think it kind of went pear-shaped.
And I think if it's fair to say it's a misunderstanding, but at the same time, then don't we think he should apologize a bit better than, hey, I dropped the ball, but I still think that he's trafficking kids. You know,
Yeah, I mean, again, he's very smart, but he's still young, right? I mean, he's going to look back at all these years and be like, oh my God, I can't believe that I thought I knew what I was
Gigi,
doing, right? Like, we all do that. But no, I mean, he should, I mean, I think it would be appropriate for you guys to talk. And if he does have an apology, then
You
he
know,
should
Gigi,
present with it.
I am 21 too as well. So I am the same age as Dean. I do exactly the same thing. I'm much smaller. I mean, I'm pretty shocked with all this right now. But we're here to have civil
No, I
conversations.
know. It was unfortunate. I was like, wow, is this really happening? Like, and I'm not supporting of this kind of.
Here's the thing: he was trying that again and trying to point out one of my other moderators of them being a predator, and that was like, oh my God. But it was getting very hostile, though, and that's why when Harry came up on here, that's when I was like, okay, I need to drop these people because it's going to get too emotional.
Okay. Yeah, I just think it was.
Can I ask what, like, was there a specific thing that was brought up to why Dean may have acted the same, like the way that he did? Like, was it just that statement that
it's that statement.
Your children can't consent? Yeah. That was it. There was nothing else said.
Okay,
So
I was actually in that live also. 40 here. But I was actually in that live also, and I think it's just that it was taken out of context. But yes, it was unfortunate, probably a misunderstanding. But the issue was what they were talking about was Trump going in for the pageant, going in when there's teenagers, right? Apparently there was 2 teenagers that are in the pageant in the dressing room, and that he would walk in for these teenagers, right? Non-consenting children, essentially. That's where that initially stemmed from. His question was, would you be okay with a 70-year-old man walking into dressing room where children are naked? Goatman, unfortunately, you didn't actually respond to that. You were just like, I would never put my child in a pageant. They're stupid. Never answering. Then from there, he rephrased that question.
I think that's a fair answer.
Well said.
Yeah. No.
You definitely should have just said no. Like,
yeah,
I
think it's just the context because
okay at all.
Right.
No,
I think it's just the context.
No.
That followed by the next response is where that misunderstanding came. Because
the first time you said it is I would not allow it. I did not say he didn't have the decision. That's the second time. The first time that he said it, I said I would not allow it.
Yeah, that's true.
You go back and look. The first time he brought up the question, I said I would not allow it. Then he brought it up and reworded it, and that's when I had to change it to whether or not my child gets to make that decision is irrelevant. I still would not allow it.
I'm pretty sure you said I wouldn't put them in a pageant. It's stupid. You really were clowning pageants.
No,
so I think that's where the context was.
He literally said,
no, I'm not saying it's wrong. I agree with you. I'm not saying that it's wrong to say that, but I think that's where the misunderstanding came from. Is the not actually saying no, I would never allow a 7-year-old man to go into it. I think it was just the whole why wouldn't put it in pageants followed by this statement they don't have a choice. You know what I mean? And
they don't have a choice. Children do not have a choice.
I agree. But I'm saying like Gigi said, he cut it off right after they don't have a choice. He literally focused on that. I'm not saying that you're wrong in what you said. I'm just saying that's in the whole context of the whole, that's where that entire misunderstanding came from. And yes, it was unfortunate, but it's just when you put it all together, Like, it kind of sounds like you were just skirting around that. No, I would not approve of that. No, that's not something that.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, children do have a choice. That doesn't mean like it doesn't mean that like a child cannot make decisions ever. Like if a child is genuinely uncomfortable around a certain person, right? They don't have to be around that person.
Right.
True. True.
Right, but he was talking about, how Trump he would brag, he'd go in the dressing room and there are all these gorgeous women and some of them happen to be teenagers. And again, I think Danny, the way that you explained it was like spot on. Those 15-year-old girls, yeah, they consented to be in the pageant, but they didn't consent to having Trump come in. And what are they going to say, right? Like it's awkward, right? It's just like if a 15
but they don't consent to be in the pageant.
It was awkward, and in the exchange,
Underage girls and boys involved in any kind of competition or sporting events are not consenting. Their parents are. And his point was, as a parent, I wouldn't consent to allowing them to be in a pageant in the first place, if I understand his comment.
right?
correctly.
And I agreed with him when he said
Right.
that. I was,
But don't
yeah.
say in here, any one of you, don't say that kids have the ability to consent to anything. No, they do not. If they are minor children, they do not. Their parents gave them the consent to participate. They're not consenting. Their parents consent on their behalf.
Right.
But that's not what Goatman said.
Yeah.
No, but he-
consenting for
Goatman said that they don't have consent for anything, which is completely wrong.
No.
I don't believe he used the
Not what I
word
said.
anything. I don't
Thanks for
recall.
having me. I got to bring in my groceries. I don't know how to disconnect, but thank you. Thank you.
Space, I vehemently disagree with you, and I know that that's not true because that's not what I said. Verbatim, I stated that I disagree, and I stated multiple times I do not like pageants. I think they're gross. I think I said it 3 times. I would not allow it. I don't know what more a man can say to say that they disagree with all of that.
You don't have to defend your comment because they're taking it out of context. You answered the question in the context of the question, and it was regarding the competition and the pageants. So he didn't reiterate the entire question. He answered it. He said they have no right, and legally they do not, to consent to anything regarding that kind of activity. It is only parental consent. He answered the question that was posed to him. Space Age is trying to twist it into something it's not by saying that that is a flat across the board comment, and it's not. He answered the question asked of him.
Because it wasn't even about the pageant anymore at that point. It was strictly, he just asked if I would allow a 65 or 70-year-old look at my child naked. And every single time I said I would not allow it. And he
Right.
does not get to, if my kid, again, let's flip this. If my kid came up to me and asked me, hey, Dad, I want to sleep with that 70-year-old man, I'm going to say no. That's not going to happen. But that's not what Dean asked.
Right. And the other part I wanted to point out is, since Harry was so adamant about saying that he is no longer friends with Dean, and there were a lot of lies done post this, pre this particular lie, where Dean and Harry were facing accusations themselves and questions, I wonder why Harry separated himself, because perhaps I think that Dean goes off the deep end many times. I've seen him in lives with Harry and by himself, where he absolutely goes a little rogue. And I think that something else is afoot there with Dean.
My
So
understanding-
go.
Yeah, my understanding is that Dean and Parker separated themselves from Harry because of that whole thing that happened with with Harry messaging like 5 or 6 different women, like trying to get like nude pictures and.
Well, listen, I watched those lies where Harry tried to explain what was going on.
Yeah,
He explained it. He explained it that all of them in that age group were doing that, and they are messaging and WhatsApping and Snapchatting and doing all these things, and they are well aware of how these apps work.
Right.
They've grown up with these apps, so I don't give anybody a pass on not knowing what they were participating in. Now, if someone makes an assumption, which is what Harry's claim was, that he never said he was exclusive, then that's where it stands. There's no exclusivity to who you can communicate with over social media.
No, I agree 100%. I was just saying that I think that it was more Dean and Parker that separated themselves. Because
Yeah, I don't think that's the way it went. If
they
you
pride
watch,
themselves on like women, like their.
yeah, I don't think that's the way it went. Dean has been. I watched them together a very long time, and Dean is he's much less controlled in his behavior, much less, and he goes off the deep end a lot, and he will take things, and you'll see Harry sometimes either jokingly say something to try to shut him down, or sometimes even just blocked him on his own lives and told him, listen, go do something else, or I'm going to go now, or, lots of stuff. It's been going on for a long, long time.
So at the end of the day, too, can we not say that there's a little bit of manipulation in muting me and not letting me say my full response multiple times through that?
Of course. And they all manipulate each other, all of them. There's 5 of them in total. And they go back
and Jojo, I know you're going to back me up on it, but I honestly, that's for Space Agent Danny. It's like, do you guys think that it was okay for him to mute me and not even let me finish what I was going to say?
No, so I don't disagree with I disagree with muting, right? But I think the problem is not that not about your whole changing room argument. It's not. I don't think that's what people are upset about. I think what people are upset about is the fact that you are saying that children can't consent to anything, right? Is essentially you have control over everything in that child's life. I think that's what people are kind of getting upset about.
Well,
I think I completely understand if you don't want to put your child into a pageant. Trust me, I'm on board. I think it's a little weird. I think it's a little creepy. I get it. But I think that's what people are missing here is that you do not have control over every aspect of a child's life.
Yes, they do. They have legal guardianship responsibility, and the law is on the side of a parent.
But that doesn't mean that you can tell them to do anything. Right? You can't tell them to go rob a bank. That's not how that works. Your child can say no.
You can't tell anyone to commit a crime, dude.
No. And not only that, but that's
right. But your child has the ability to say no, and essentially what Goatman
they don't have the ability to say
that they don't have the choice to say no. They should have the choice to say no.
The parent has the legal responsibility over the safety, security, and mental health of that child. Period. End of story. Dude, I know you don't have kids.
No, you are.
And you can do that without trying to control every aspect.
Okay, so what's going on here?
It's not controlling, though.
You're absolutely.
So doing everything that your child has to do,
no,
or telling that's essentially that's exactly what it is. That's why people are getting upset, right? It's because your child should have a choice when it comes to matters.
And I think what it is
not
is
when
the
it
way
comes
that
to
Dean is posing it.
a man looking at him naked. That's not what the question
Right, but that's not what people are getting upset about, Goatman. You didn't say that. You said that they don't have any say at all.
Right, and to be honest, that's the way Dean is posing it also. Exactly
Hold
like
on.
that. Because you're,
Hold on. Can I add on for a minute? I just want to ask this question, Stace. So if a 12-year-old child, has consensual sex with an adult, what is that going to be considered? It was consensual.
It's still R.
What? No.
What
that would still be great.
No, it was consent.
No. Okay. Hold on. I'm not saying that you have to indulge every little thing that your child does. I'm just saying that you basically have to give them a choice every once in a while.
But you're missing a major key point of that question.
But this is the point. A child, but in the reality sense, though, yes, we could give child a little choices. Like if they want a cookie or something, we could give them that choice. But should we give them the choice to drive a car?
You're dragging it way too far out.
Should we let them? We should give them a choice to drive a car. We should give them a choice to go hunting. We should give them a choice to walk to school alone. Is that?
That's not what I'm referring to, right? What I'm referring to is that they should at least, if let's say a child comes to you, right, and is genuinely uncomfortable around a certain person, right? It is your responsibility if they say, "Hey, can we please leave?" It's your responsibility as the parent to understand what the child is saying and take their feelings into account.
Okay.
They don't just have to say, "Oh, you shouldn't just go, hey, well, I say, hey, we're staying here because I say." You should take the feelings of the child into consideration.
He wasn't talking about feelings. He was talking about a grown man looking at and gawking at underage
And what
children.
Dean
Stop
did,
making it
and
into
Dean had
something
the
more.
audacity,
Can I please respond?
and what Dean did was he said to the audience his username and said, "Call CPS and track down this guy." He encouraged or incited his fan base to go after him, and it
Yeah.
worked.
Well, I would completely disagree with that. Like I
Then
said,
why
I
are
don't
you
really
here?
know.
Then
Like I
why
said,
are
this is
you
my
here?
first time
Then why
here,
are you here?
right?
Then why are
But
you
just hearing both
Then
sides
why are
from
you
hearing
here?
Goatman's
If it
side,
didn't work, why are you here?
Can I please
because
respond?
I think Goatman deserves an explanation for what he's
Yes.
saying, man. I think you should have a
He's not
voice.
saying
Explained
anything
it to
wrong.
you.
He is not saying a thing that's wrong in the legal
Right.
capacity of a
Okay,
parent.
guys, hold on.
And
Saying
legal
saying that a
offense.
child has no right to consent at all,
Danny,
like
you can speak.
You're
Please
cutting out a key
respond.
piece of that.
Danny, you can add on.
Thank you. So I will agree with Goatman, right? There is a bit of manipulation going on with this. But I can also see from Space Agent, because this is how it's being phrased, right? The whole thing saying that a child does, like, they don't have consent. It's not saying like consent in like, yes, it's your responsibility as a parent to take care of them or whatever. But the way it's being manipulated and used is when you said, well, they have a choice, right? He automatically changed it for the meaning to be, oh my God. So like, if you wanted a grown man to look at them and you like, you're consenting to it, or you're going to tell them they have to do that, then they have to let it happen. Like, that's how it's being phrased. That's the manipulation part, that he's framing it that way. Like, that's where it got cut off. Like, oh, they don't have consent. Like, it doesn't matter. They're going to do what I tell them to do. That's where like people are mad, because that's how it's being manipulated to be, right? It's not so much that like you're saying, oh, well, everybody, like, they don't have consent. Doesn't matter, like, if I put them in or not. It's just when you said they don't have consent, he's making it sound like, oh my God, you would traffic them. Oh my God, like, if you said that I'm going to let an 80-year-old man look at them, they have to look at them. Like, they have to allow it because they can't consent or disconsent to it. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, in a way, it's like, yes, the whole consent thing, they don't have a choice. That's where, like, the upset part is, because, yes, they don't have a choice, right? You are the parent. But he's framing it like, okay, well, if you're going to traffic them, then they don't have a choice. Like, that's where I agree that the manipulation is coming out, because I totally get where you're coming from.
Where did trafficking even get mentioned?
He said that. He's not Goatman. Like, Dean, this was the whole doxing thing. Oh my God, you would traffic your child. Like, that's where the whole thing came from.
That's what I was saying. That Gene is going off the deep end. It's not even legitimate part of the conversation when you're talking about a pageant versus trying to accuse someone of trafficking their own child.
Right. But that's what
When you say consent, a parent, listen, parents tell their children what to wear, where to go to school, when they go to bed, what they're allowed to watch on television, how much screen time they get on computers. That's the parent's responsibility. And
Your
in a
child
legal
doesn't get any
forum-
choice for anything
and I
ever.
don't care what your parenting skills are, because I guarantee you don't even fucking have children. That is
So
not
they don't
about
have a choice
parenting.
for anything.
This is
They just
not
have to do
about
everything
parenting.
you say.
A parent controls the environment their child is raised in. They are responsible.
They're
for
not
them
your
legally.
slave. What are you talking
It's
Well,
not
how
about?
is
slavery to protect
slavery?
the kid.
See,
They
you're
don't
a
have to
moron.
do everything you say.
You're a complete and utter moron.
Okay,
Where
well,
did
the
anyone
insults are
say
done.
anything
No, I'm
about
not doing the whole
slavery?
insult thing.
A slave is somebody who is being told to do things against their will and is under someone else's control. These are their children. They are responsible for their safety, for their being given a roof over their head, food on their plate, clothing, sent to school, all the basics. Within those basics, parents are responsible for making other decisions as well. Whether you think it's too strict or not is none of your fucking business. The person that is the child's parents makes those decisions. Now, if you're talking about harm, when harm comes to a child, that's another whole issue. Now that's a legal issue. Now that's under a criminal act. And Goatman wasn't being accused of or asked about a criminal act. He was asked about whether or not he would allow his child to be gawked at by a man of any age that's an adult, didn't even have to be 70 years old, and whether he thought that was okay. And his answer was based in, number one, I don't agree with competitions like that in the first place, and number two, no. That should have been sufficed. That should have sufficed it. Where was trafficking brought into it? That was Dean. He was trying to make a situation that didn't exist. Parents have rights. They are responsible because the government can also hold you responsible for neglect and abuse if you do not maintain the safety of those same children. Okay? So get it straight. There's legalities and there's parenting. And Space Agent, I guarantee you, you don't have a child.
So to clarify on this, also, when you look at so where we get our laws from and how it works actually comes from the Innocent Lives Foundation. And the key piece at the very beginning of it, when you go to their website, states, children cannot give consent because their brains are not fully developed to understand the situations that they may be put in. And that is why it is the parents' responsibility to protect those kids. So,
Right.
yes, exactly.
That's the science behind the fact that there's laws.
It's not even
that
the
say
science.
that they
There's a judge and an investigator and several people who work for this foundation who've established, no, there is no clear-cut line when it comes to that. The children cannot give consent to sexual actions, period.
Right, but that's the science behind why they have those opinions. That is what's been studied and that's what's been known and that's been shown. If you have children, you've seen it in your own children. They're not capable of taking in all of the parameters of decisions that adults are making.
Yeah.
They don't know the ramifications or the repercussions of those decisions either.
Yeah, I say I love you all who joined. It's really a good conversation. This was crazy, but I am thankful. Jojo, I like you. You're really good. And you're a Democrat, right?
I sure am.
I love you. I relate to you right now. If you could come to my panel anytime. So for you, Goat Man, because you both are
I
very.
just followed you.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Well, everybody, it's been several hours of this.
I think it's time to drop this.
Yeah.
I gotta look at my notifications
Yeah.
and see what I'm dealing with. I think I'm gonna have a lot of stuff.
I've got a lot too. Thank you, James.
Yeah, and to this person, Angie, in the comments, a lot of random opinions and misinformation here. Cool, enjoy y'all. This is another ignorant statement from probably another maggot, because that would be a comment that they would make. That would absolutely be a comment that they would make because they don't understand the law. They don't understand what the ramifications and the parameters of parenting is and where the line is drawn. You want to let your child pick out what they're going to wear to school? We're not talking about that. We're talking about a legal situation in a legal environment, and that was the question that was asked to Goat Man, and that's the question he answered. The rest of you people, if you want to sit in your ignorance, go right ahead and continue to do that, because that's what MAGA does. You sit in your ignorance, and you love it. You think your opinion matters when there's laws that precisely dictate exactly what Goat Man was talking about. That's why it's even a conversation, why a 70-year-old racist fuck was over there looking at young girls undressed and then brags about it on the media about how he's got this ability because he owns the pageant to go in and walk in on these children, these girls, without asking for permission to go in that space. You wouldn't even do that to adult women if you know that there could possibly be people in various stages of undress. This is just a sick human being. He's a predator, and we already know all of this.
Well, I'm going to leave it at that. I wish everybody a wonderful day. I appreciate the time, James, and I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, everybody.
You are allowed to come back up on here anytime.
Thanks,
Don't
bud.
forget that.
Appreciate
Even
it.
you, JoJo, even everyone else. This is a safe space. But
And then here we got to get one more comment in because Nino over here, probably a predator himself, says there were adults in that space. Try again. It doesn't matter if there was one adult or 100 adults. The fact that there was even one child there, one person under the age of majority, that still dictates the situation. Dumbass.
okay, I'll see you guys later. But thank you all. Love you all.
Bye. Thank you.